My sweet 12-year-old, imagine your own parents on their 40th wedding anniversary, looking at your 12-year-old daughter, your flesh and blood, and publicly, repeatedly calling her the dumb one in front of 50 shocked guests. That was my Saturday night. And the fury, the betrayal, the heartbreak I felt, it's something I will never, ever forget. My sweet 12-year-old, Emma, was at the kids' table, trying desperately to disappear into the wallpaper. Next to her sat Sophia, her cousin. Same age, but a world apart in my parents' eyes. Sophia? Oh, she was the golden grandchild. Straight A's, gifted program, a piano prodigy. My parents worshipped the ground she walked on. Emma was different. She has dyslexia. School was a constant, uphill battle for her. A battlefield she fought on every single day, despite how hard she tried. But my parents? They never understood. Never even tried to. Then, the champagne glass clinked. My mom, beaming, announced it was big news time. My stomach dropped. I knew, with a sickening certainty, what was coming. My dad, with a sickeningly proud smile directed only at Sophia, started to talk about legacy and passing down what they'd built. And then he dropped the bomb. Sophia would inherit the family home and a $250,000 trust fund. The room exploded in applause, but all I could see was Emma's face. Crumpled, fighting back the tears that threatened to spill. My sister, Rachel, glowed with pride, thanking them, completely oblivious to the dagger her daughter's triumph was driving into Emma's heart. But Mom wasn't finished. Her eyes, cold and dismissive, found Emma. "We love both our granddaughters," she said, a lie hanging thick in the air. "But Sophia has shown real promise, real intelligence. She'll do something meaningful with this inheritance." My blood ran cold. Then Dad twisted the knife. "Emma's a sweet girl," he added, with a condescending shrug. "But let's be honest, she's the dumb one. She'll probably be fine with a simple life. She doesn't need this kind of responsibility." The dumb one. He said it, out loud, in front of everyone, about my 12-year-old daughter. Emma, my brave little girl, bolted from the table, fleeing to the bathroom. I heard her choked sobs, and my heart shattered into a million pieces. As I started to rise, Rachel's hand clamped onto my arm. "Don't make a scene," she hissed, her eyes wide with frantic worry. "Not for Emma, but for the party. They're just being practical." Practical? My child just got publicly humiliated. I ripped my arm free. There was no stopping me now. The room was still buzzing with their celebratory ignorance. I grabbed a champagne glass, the sharp clink of my fork against it echoing through the sudden silence. "I have an announcement, too," I said, my voice shockingly steady, a calm before the storm. My mother's eyes widened in panic. "Victoria, this isn't the time," she whispered urgently. "Oh, no." I smiled, a cold, hard smile that didn't reach my eyes. "This is the perfect time. You just declared my daughter too dumb to inherit anything, destined for a simple life, unworthy of your legacy." The silence was deafening. "I want everyone here to know something," I continued, my gaze sweeping the room, holding eye contact with anyone brave enough to meet it, something my parents clearly have no idea about. I pulled out my phone, navigating to a photo. Last month, Emma entered the National Youth Science Competition. Their faces were blank, confused. She designed and built a water filtration system using recycled materials that removes 98% of contaminants. Their eyes started to flicker with dawning comprehension. Out of 5,000 entries nationwide, she placed third. My parents went ghost white. I wasn't done. She also writes poetry. Beautiful, evocative poetry. At just 12 years old, she's had 3 poems published in major literary magazines. I looked directly at Rachel. Sophia is talented, absolutely. But Emma? Emma isn't dumb. She's dyslexic. There's a huge difference. My mom stammered. "We didn't know." My voice didn't waver. "You didn't know because you never cared enough to ask. You just slapped a label on her and dismissed her entire worth." I turned to my dad, my voice dripping with scorn. That $250,000 trust fund? Emma doesn't need it. Because last week, I found out something truly incredible about my daughter. Midway subscribe line. Pause for dramatic effect. Now, before I tell you what that amazing revelation was and how my parents reacted when their entire world shattered at that party, if you're still hooked on this story, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Seriously, more unbelievable stories like this are coming, and your support means the world. And now, back to the party and what Emma really achieved. Main story continued. Let's rewind. Emma was only 7 when the school called. That dreaded meeting. Her teacher, the principal, a reading specialist, all looking so serious. Mrs. Nash, they said, their voices soft but firm. Emma's struggling. She's significantly behind. My heart sank. How far behind? I asked, dread coiling in my stomach. She's in 2nd grade, but reading at a 1st grade level. The tests confirmed it. Severe dyslexia. Imagine letters flipping, words scrambling right before your eyes. Reading wasn't just hard for Emma, it was torture. I dove headfirst into research, found the best specialists, enrolled her in tutoring 3, sometimes 4 times a week. It was financially draining, emotionally exhausting. But Emma? She never gave up. She worked harder than any child I knew. My parents, though? They just didn't get it. She just needs to focus more. My dad would huff dismissively. Some kids are just slower learners. My mom would chime in. When I tried to explain dyslexia, the science behind it, they just waved it away. That's just a fancy word for not being smart enough, they declared. That was the last time I tried to talk to them about it. And as Emma struggled, Sophia blossomed. Straight A's from kindergarten, reading chapter books early, winning every spelling bee, piano recitals. She was the perfect grandchild. Every family dinner became the Sophia show. Did you hear Sophia won the math competition? Her teacher says she's the smartest. She's going to Harvard someday. Emma would just sit there, tiny, quiet, pushing food around her plate, her light dimming a little more with each compliment directed at her cousin. Then, one heartbreaking night, when she was just 9, she looked up at me with those big, sad eyes and whispered, "Mom, am I stupid?" My world stopped.
What? No.
Why would you ever think that? Grandma said I'm not as smart as Sophia, that I'll never do what she does. I was absolutely incensed. I confronted my mother. Did you tell Emma she's not smart? I didn't say exactly that, she backpedaled, just that Sophia has special gifts. Emma will find her own path. A simpler one. A simpler one? She's 9 years old. I spat, tears blurring my vision. You're crushing her confidence. I'm being realistic, Victoria. Not every child is gifted. That's when it hit me. They hadn't just misunderstood Emma. They had written her off entirely.
But Emma?
My incredible Emma. She never, ever gave up. Slowly, painstakingly, with endless tutoring, reading went from torture to merely difficult, then to manageable. By 5th grade, she was reading at grade level. She still had to fight for every word, work twice as hard as her peers, but she did it. And through it all, she found her passion, science. Environmental science, to be exact. Water quality, pollution, conservation, these were the things that lit up her eyes. She devoured documentaries, pored over online articles, filling notebooks with her wonderfully messy handwriting. One day, she came to me, her eyes shining with an idea. "Mom," she said, "I want to build something. A water filter for people who don't have clean water." That's amazing, sweetie. For a school project? No, for real. There's a competition, the National Youth Science Competition. I want to enter. She was only 11. The competition was for kids up to 18. I was nervous. "Are you sure, Em? That's really advanced." But she looked me right in the eye. "I can do it, Mom. I know I can." So the garage became her lab. For 6 grueling months, Emma researched, experimented, failed, iterated, and tried again. She built an entire filtration system, sand, gravel, Activated charcoal, recycled plastic bottles. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. 98% contaminant removal. She submitted her project, and I kept it quiet from my parents. I just couldn't bear to hear their dismissive comments. 2 months later, the call came. Emma placed third out of 5,000 entries nationwide. We cried. We hugged. We celebrated with ice cream and a movie. The thought crossed my mind to tell my parents, but I knew the drill. That's nice, honey. Did you hear Sophia won the state piano competition? So, I kept Emma's triumph to ourselves. Then, poetry found her. Little verses about nature, about water, about the unique way her mind worked, about feeling different. Her tutor, a brilliant woman, pulled me aside. "Victoria," she said, her voice full of awe, "Emma has an incredible gift for language. Her writing is beautiful. She sees the world differently, and it pours out in her poetry. You must encourage this." So I did. I bought her journals. She filled 3 of them in 6 months. One day, she looked at me, a flicker of hope in her eyes. "Mom, do you think anyone would want to read my poems? Like real people? Not just you." My heart swelled. I helped her submit to a youth literary magazine just to give her the experience. 3 weeks later, they accepted one. Then another magazine took 2 more. At 12 years old, my dumb daughter had 3 published poems. I was bursting with pride, but still, I kept it from my parents. What was the point? They wouldn't care. Then, just last week, something happened that utterly floored me. Emma came home from school, clutching an official-looking envelope. "Mom," she said, her voice full of wonder, "this came for me." I opened it, my eyes scanning the words, then rereading them, a wave of disbelief washing over me. It was from MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. They were launching a new summer program for gifted young scientists, ages 12 to 15. Emma's National Science Competition project had caught their attention. They were inviting her to apply. "Emma," I gasped, my voice catching in my throat. "Do you know what this means?" "Is it good?" she asked, hesitant, still not quite believing. "Good? Emma, MIT is one of the best science schools in the world. They want you." She stared at the letter, but then her face fell. "But I'm the dumb one," she whispered. "Grandpa said so." My heart shattered into a million pieces. "You are not dumb, Emma. You never were." "Then why does everyone think I am?" she asked, tears welling. "Because they don't understand dyslexia," I told her, my voice thick with emotion. "They don't see how hard you work, how incredibly brilliant you actually are." She looked up at me, a tiny spark of hope in her eyes. "Do you think I could get into the program?" "Sweetie," I said, pulling her close, "I think you can do anything you set your mind to." We filled out that MIT application that very night, brimming with hope and a quiet defiance. 2 days later, my parents called. "Victoria, we're planning our anniversary party. 40 years. We have a big announcement." My stomach clenched. "What announcement?" I asked, though a terrible premonition had already set in. "We're finalizing our estate planning. We want to announce who's inheriting what. And well, Sophia's been doing so well, straight A's, piano leadership." My blood ran cold. "We're leaving the house and the trust fund to her." "What about Emma?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Oh, we'll leave Emma some money, of course. Maybe $20,000. Enough to help her get started in whatever simple career she chooses. $20,000 compared to $250,000. My mind reeled. "Mom, Emma's not. We've made our decision, Victoria." She cut me off, her tone final. "It's what's fair." Fair? I was shaking with fury, a storm brewing inside me. 3 days later was the party. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to keep Emma home, to shield her from the inevitable. But then I thought, no. They needed to hear the truth. Emma, wearing her favorite dress, tried to smile, but her eyes held a profound sadness, a resignation that broke my heart. At the kids' table, Sophia, as always, chirped on about her latest achievements. Emma just sat, shrinking into herself. Then came the announcement. My parents, radiating smug satisfaction, raised their champagne glasses. My dad proclaimed Sophia would inherit everything, praising her real promise, real intelligence. And then, the blow that landed directly on Emma. Emma's a sweet girl, he said, his gaze sweeping over her, dismissing her with a glance. But let's be honest, she's the dumb one. I watched Emma's face shatter right before my eyes. And that was it. I stood up. I walked to the front, grabbed a glass, and clinked it. The room fell silent. You just called my daughter dumb, I said, my voice cutting through the quiet like glass, sharp and unwavering. In front of 50 people. My mom's face flushed crimson. Victoria, we didn't mean. Oh, you meant it. I retorted. And now, let me tell you what the dumb one did this year. I pulled out my phone, showing them the screen. This is Emma's third place award from the National Youth Science Competition. Out of 5,000 entries nationwide, she designed a water filtration system that beat kids twice her age. I scrolled to another photo. And these are her 3 published poems in major literary magazines. At 12 years old, my parents' faces were ashen, their smiles replaced by disbelief. And last week, I continued, holding up the MIT letter. Emma received this. An invitation to apply to a summer program for gifted young scientists at MIT. One of the best schools in the world. Whispers erupted throughout the room. Emma isn't dumb, I stated, my voice shaking with raw emotion. She has dyslexia. Her brain works differently. She works twice as hard and she excels. Your granddaughter Sophia is talented, absolutely. But so is mine. You just never bothered to notice. My dad tried to stammer something, but I cut him off. You didn't know because you never asked. You labeled her at 7 years old and gave up on her entirely. My mom was openly weeping now, muttering apologies. We didn't understand. No, I shot back, my voice laced with venom. You didn't want to understand. It was easier to compare, to pick a favorite, to simply write Emma off. Rachel, my sister, jumped in. Victoria, this isn't the time. Oh, and when is the time, Rachel? I challenged, my voice cutting through her. After you've cashed in on your inheritance? After Emma has spent her entire childhood believing she's worthless because of your parents. I turned back to them, my voice loud and clear, echoing through the stunned silence. Keep your trust fund. Keep your house. Emma doesn't need it. She is going to earn her own success, and she is going to do it without any of you. I walked directly to Emma, held out my hand. Come on, baby. We're leaving. She took my hand, tears streaming down her face. But there was a flicker of something new in her eyes, a spark of pride, of understanding. As we walked out, my dad's voice echoed, pleading, Victoria, please, let's talk about this. I didn't even turn around and I in the car. The silence was thick, but it was a different kind of silence now. Emma finally spoke, her voice small, fragile. Mom, did you mean all that? About me being smart? Every single word, my love. I choked out, tears blurring my vision. You are brilliant, Emma. Don't you ever let anyone tell you otherwise. But I have dyslexia, she said, her voice still laced with doubt. I can't read like other kids. Dyslexia doesn't make you dumb, Emma. I assured her, reaching for her hand. It just means your brain works differently, uniquely. Einstein had dyslexia. So did Steven Spielberg, Thomas Edison. Some of the smartest people in history. She was quiet for a moment. Then, almost a whisper, a tiny crack of joy in her voice. I got into the MIT program. My foot slammed on the brake. What? The car screeched to a halt on the side of the road. The email came this morning, she said, a shy smile finally breaking through her tears. I didn't want to tell you until after the party. I got in, Mom. I pulled her into the tightest hug of our lives. We just sat there, in the middle of nowhere, and cried together. Tears of relief, of vindication, of pure, unadulterated joy.